Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Ipshita Bansal from BPS Women's University, Sonipat. Today we are going to talk on the module Business Etiquettes from the paper Business Communication. By the end of this module, the students will be able to understand first the importance of business etiquettes in business, second, how to make good first impressions, and third, basics of business etiquettes in various areas of business. So, let's understand what is etiquette. Etiquettes are defined as rules governing socially acceptable behavior. Human behavior is a subjective matter. An act can be right or acceptable for one person, and at the same time it can be altogether unacceptable for other persons. Similarly, etiquettes governing human behavior are also subjective, and they can be satisfactory in one situation and unsatisfactory in another situation. There are certain rules governing human behavior, but there can be deviations from it, considering the human aspect attached to them. Cultural boundaries also play a role in defining the area of etiquettes. These deviations may be acceptable or not acceptable in different settings. Generally, the set of etiquettes adopted in a society have to be adhered to so as to not hurt or offend the people associated with us. So, let's now understand what is business etiquette. Business etiquette is the code of conduct regarding the interactions among the members in a business setting that is not necessarily written anywhere. Right business etiquette plays a big role in making long-lasting positive impressions. In business situations, showing proper etiquette will give you competitive edge over others who may not be using proper etiquette. Likewise, failing to use the correct etiquette may result in being overlooked for employment or losing other valuable opportunities. Business etiquette can be applied to many areas of an individual's professional work life, including emails, phone calls, and business meetings. As Clarence Thomas has stated, good manners will open doors that the best education cannot. So we understand that learning proper business etiquettes is very important for success in professional as well as personal life. Business etiquettes depend upon the situation that you are going to face. For example, if one is traveling abroad for business purpose, it would be good to do some research beforehand to find out what is considered proper etiquette in that particular culture. Cultural differences need to be understood to maintain proper communication between the interacting parties. There are many differences in dining style, greetings, and perceptions of body language all across the globe. Being aware of these differences will save one from making a blunder and possibly offending someone or ruining an opportunity for oneself. Look at the picture carefully. Do you see anything uncomfortable or not correct in the picture? Yes, we see two people sitting on the table to interact, but the lady in the picture is constantly looking at her mobile, not paying attention to the gentleman who's sitting across her at the table. This is not good business etiquette. So let's now understand some basic concepts of business meetings etiquette. First, turn off the cell phone or set it to a silent mode so that the work can take place unhindered and the people attending the meeting do not feel that they are not being paid attention to. Do not check your phone or messages during the meeting constantly. Second, be prepared. Before meeting, prepare some points in mind that what you are going to discuss in the meeting and note down all important points so that you will not forget them. Keep a pen and notepad to write down important points during meetings. Third, attend the meeting on time. Coming late in meetings gives a very bad impression about you. In fact, it is a good idea to arrive a few minutes early to do last-minute preparations for meetings. Fourth, actively participate in the meetings. By asking questions and making appropriate and reasonable comments, you should have active participation in meetings. However, you should avoid interrupting others or being critical or overtly negative, and always try to stay on the topic. Do not divert from the topic of discussion. And fifth, at the end of the meeting, thank others for the opportunity to meet with them. Introductions and first impressions are very important. When meeting professional contacts, there is only one chance to make a positive first impression. Some factors like appropriate attire and physical appearance, the right verbal and non-verbal communication skills, right body language, as well as manners and good business etiquette practices help in making better impressions on the first time. Let us discuss these aspects in detail. A picture of two ladies is shown in this particular slide. A lady with the tied down hair seems more professional than the one who is having frizzy hair. So physical appearance is also a very important aspect of business etiquettes. So let's understand the importance of physical appearance in detail. First, grooming is necessary. When attending a professional function or meeting with a professional contact, men should always be clean shaven and keep facial hair well groomed. Try to avoid bizarre hairstyles. Keep fingernails clean and neatly trimmed or filed. Women should keep minimal makeup. Second, dress up according to the situation. It is always a better option to be slightly overdressed than underdressed. You should never wear crumpled, shabby, unclean, stained, or faded clothing. At workplace, casual clothes should be avoided. Very tight or revealing clothes should not be worn at the workplace. This is unprofessional. Shoes should be clean. Third, use perfume with care. Some people are very sensitive to fragrance, so it is best to limit the use of perfumes or deodorants or not wear them at all. Jewelry should be simple and minimum. In formal setup, you should never wear heavy jewelry. This includes men as well. Wearing chain in the neck or ear studs should be avoided. Visible tattoos should be covered. Tattoos and body arts, etc., should be covered under clothing. It's better to be safe than sorry. Now let's discuss business etiquettes to be kept in mind while giving introductions. State your first and last name while giving your introduction. Use right hand for shaking hands. While introducing yourself, always stand up and always extend your right hand to shake hands. Your grip on the hand should be firm, but not uncomfortably tight. Handshakes normally should last around 30 seconds and for 3 up and down shakes. There should be proper maintenance of eye contact. Introduction should be made with a smiling face. While making introductions, eye contact should be maintained with the person to whom you are introducing yourself. Use of name tags. Use name tags on your right side of your shirt when at an event where name tags are being used. It helps others to view the name tag while you are shaking hands. Closing statement at the end of the conversation is also very important. While reaching at the end of a conversation, it is polite to use a closing statement like, "It was nice meeting you." Walking away abruptly after the conversation is over is discourteous. The art of conversing is also a part of business etiquette. So while conversing, following points should be kept in mind. Use proper language. When conversing with others in business environment, try to speak in a grammatically correct manner. Avoid the use of slang words or phrases and never use foul or bad language. Avoid topics that could be controversial. A formal meeting is not the time to have debate on controversial subjects. Topics related to religion, politics, etc. should be avoided in formal conversations. Show interest and respect by using good listening skills. Listeners should look at the speaker while listening and give that person his or her full attention. Do not interrupt the speaker. Stay focused on what the speaker is saying. Next, focus on relevant topics, or we can say that discussions should be also on the safe topics. In informal meetings, discuss only the topic of your meeting or the event you are attending. Current events and books and articles which are related to the industry of the concerned person. Maintain proper body language. In business situations, verbal as well as non-verbal communication is equally important. During conversation with another person, it is important to make sure that your non-verbal communication, including the body language, is also proper. Good posture, smiling, and proper eye contact all convey positive messages. Tightly crossed arms, slouching, fiddling, leaning on objects, and looking around distractedly, all these things show improper etiquette. Let's talk about telephone etiquette. In a business scenario, communicating through telephone is very often repeated and important practice. Telephone is used for scheduling meetings, exchanging information, talking to buyers and suppliers, teleconferencing, etc. So, it is very important that communication through telephone is done following proper telephone etiquette. So, what is phone etiquette? We see in the picture a man who's holding the phone and shouting in the mouthpiece, having very violent expressions on his face, and a picture of a lady who's sitting calmly, having a smile on her face and talking to the person on the other hand in a very pleasant manner. So which of the two is better at phone etiquettes? Definitely the lady. So phone etiquette is the set of skills and attitudes you use when you call an individual or a department in another company that allows for keeping the person at the other end of the line alert and interested. So it's all about having good manners in your dealing with people on the phone. So while placing telephone calls, we should keep the following things in mind. First, be polite while talking on the phone. Never be rude to the administrative staff who may be answering your calls. It is unprofessional also, and also when the person that you are trying to reach will come to know about it, and it will give a negative opinion about you to that person. Second, keep the timing in mind while calling someone. Telephonic communication should not happen at any time. Be familiar with the hours of operation when trying to reach someone at his or her place of business. Avoid calling in odd timings. If you have permission to contact someone at his or her personal number, never call before 8 a.m. or after 9 p.m. Third, ask if this is the right time to talk. After making a call, ask him or her if this is a right time to talk. This is very important if you expect that your call will last longer than a few minutes. If you have to have a lengthy conversation, the call should be made at an appropriate time suitable for the receiver of the call. When the call gets connected, the first thing you do is give your introduction to the speaker of the call. Tell your first and last name to the person answering the call and let him or her know the reason of your call. Next, use pleasant tone while leaving a message on voice call. When leaving messages on answering machine or voicemail, speak in a pleasant tone and try to be concise and to the point. And be sure to leave your name and details like the date and time, your telephone number, and brief reason of the purpose of your call. Be sure to speak clearly and slowly enough so the listener won't have any problem to understand your message and to gather the information. In the picture, photos of two people are shown. First is a lady who's talking on the phone, holding it on her shoulder. In one hand she has a drink and in another a burger, and she is talking while eating. In the other picture we see the person who's trying to listen to her is not able to understand properly. So what is the reason? Because the lady who's talking perhaps is not holding the phone properly, so her voice is not clear. Secondly, since she is eating and drinking along with talking on the phone, her voice is getting disturbed. So the other gentleman on the other side of the phone is not able to listen to her properly. This is wasting the time of both the people. Such things should be avoided. So while we are answering the calls, we should keep certain things in mind. First, speak clearly. While answering calls, focus on the caller and speak clearly. Do not eat while talking on the phone, as the biting and chewing sounds get amplified on the phone and the conversation will be hampered and poor image of the speaker will be projected to the listener. Hold the telephone about 2 fingers width away from your mouth, neither too far nor too near than that, so that the voice does not sound stifled or become inaudible. Be careful about the volume and speed of your speech. It should neither be too high nor too low. Second, use a friendly tone and greeting. Smile while picking up the phone and greet the caller. Smiling while receiving a call on the phone affects the way you speak and cause you to sound more pleasant, and the listener on the other side of the line can judge it. Next, take permission for hold. Always ask permission before placing someone on speakerphone or on hold. These features should only be used if it is very much necessary. Next, record professional message. Be sure that the recording message on your voicemail or answering machine is professional one, and also make sure that the message is polite and states your name. Do not use slang. Return all calls as soon as possible. Last, end calls on a positive note. Thank the caller for calling you and wish them a pleasant day, or end with any other suitable greeting. So what do we see in this picture? We see that three people are sitting on the table, or three people are gathered around a table to have an interaction, perhaps of an important topic. But we see that one lady in the middle is not taking part in the conversation. She is standing up and talking on the phone with somebody else, disturbing the other two participants of the meeting. This is highly unprofessional way to behave and is against business etiquettes. So, let's also talk about certain cell phone etiquettes. There are certain things which have to be kept in mind specific to cell phones, as cell phones are always present with the people. So let's understand what these certain things are. First, minimizing cell phone interruptions. Before the starting of a formal meeting, make sure you switch off your cell phone or keep it on the silent mode to avoid any form of interruption. It is also improper to check your missed calls or messages during business meetings. So one should avoid checking your phone very frequently during meetings. Second, consider the surroundings. While using cell phones for business or professional calls, it is very important to consider the surroundings. Whenever you have to be on an important call, make sure there is no noise in the room. If it is not possible to diminish the noise, move to a quieter place so that conversation can be carried out clearly without disturbance. This is also done out of respect for others who may be nearby, as they do not want to be forced to listen to your phone conversation. Also, be sure that you are in an area where you get good reception of send-fold signals to avoid dropped calls during important conversations. Let's now discuss email etiquette. Email is a form of communication that is used very much in present times and has replaced face-to-face communication to a large extent. Writing a professional email should be handled much differently than writing an informal email to a friend or family member. While using email for communication with various stakeholders of the business, considering the following tips will be very helpful. So let's consider in detail the email etiquettes or netiquettes. Use an appropriate subject line. Subject line of the email should reflect the main idea of the email so that it catches the attention of the receiver and doesn't go unnoticed. Appropriate subject lines help receivers sort and locate important emails in their inboxes. Next, have an email address that is formal. Be aware of what image your email address conveys to others. Email addresses as far as possible, should be based on the name of the individual so that it is easy to remember and search. Also, it should be formal, not frivolous. For example, email ID like handsomesunny@gmail.com is unprofessional and frivolous. But the email ID like sunnymalik@gmail.com would be much better and convey a formal approach. Next, addressing the recipient properly. Recipient's name should be properly mentioned in the email. Be sure to use formal titles of Mr., Mrs., or Doctor in case when you are not sure whether a female recipient is married or not, you should use Ms., that is MS. Next, use proper manners. Use please and thank you in the appropriate places throughout your email. If you don't use such words, your email can be considered as disrespectful or rude. Next, be specific. Try to keep your email brief and to the point. It should follow the principles of communication. That is, it should be crisp, precise, and at the same time have full details. Next, use of right tone. As email communication has taken the place of face-to-face communication, so the usage of proper tone is very important. Nobody wants to sound disrespectful in their formal communication. So proper attention should be given to the tone of the message while writing a formal one. You want to sound friendly and approachable in your emails. Never convey anger or annoyance through email. Do not type in all capital letters as it seems that you are shouting. Using all lowercase letters is the proper way. Next thing to consider in email etiquette is use proper spelling, grammar, and punctuation. Misspelled words and improper use of grammar and punctuation look informal and improper. Proofreading your message before sending is a good idea. Do not rely on spell check alone. Next, do not use emoticons, abbreviations, and fancy formatting in emails. Emoticons like smiley faces, etc., are not appropriate for formal mails. In present times, abbreviations that are now common, that is LOL, TTYL, U instead of YOU, etc., are also unprofessional. Fancy fonts, formats, and layouts are unprofessional. So it is good to stick to plain text while writing a formal email. Next is reply quickly. When someone sends you an email that requires a response, be sure to reply within 24 hours. If it is going to take longer than that, acknowledge the mail stating that you will revert with the information. Take care of confidential information. Keep in mind that email is not the best way to share the confidential information. If you have to send sensitive information, it is the best way to handle it in person. Next is do not send or forward jokes, chain letters, virus hoaxes, etc. Do not email this type of material to your professional email contacts. It is unprofessional and wastes the time of the recipient. Additionally, never send or forward an email that contains potentially offensive, obscene, or defamatory content. Last, Include your signature at the end of your email. This will ensure that the recipient knows who has sent them the email. It is also a good idea to have your contact information in your signature, including your postal mailing address and phone number. Dining etiquette is also a very important aspect of business etiquette. There are many situations when you will meet with a business contact over a meal or attend a professional function where food is involved. It is also possible that you may even attend a job interview held at a restaurant. For such situations, it is very important to know proper dining etiquette so that you can leave a good impression on the other person. Things to keep in mind under dining etiquettes are the following. Be polite to all restaurant staff. This is not only a moral duty but also required as part of proper dining etiquette, as people with whom you are having meal notice your manners and the way you are treating others. Cell phones should be on silent mode or turned off, as business lunches are not only the occasions of enjoyment but occasions of conducting some serious business. The ringing of the mobile phone disturbs the conversation. While having a seat on the table, you should wait to be seated by the restaurant staff or your host. When you sit down, keep your accessories like purses, bags, or briefcases out of the way on the floor beside you or under your seat. Never place such items on the table. While ordering, do not pick the menu yourself before your host has done so. Give time to your host to order first. While choosing your meal, consider choices that will not be messy or awkward to eat. It is best to order something that you are familiar with so that you will not feel any discomfort or awkwardness while eating food. It is good to avoid alcoholic beverages. If your host is paying for the meal, avoid choosing the priciest selections on the menu. Use of napkin also needs to be properly done. Once you have taken the seat, unfold your napkin and place it in your lap. Do not shake out your napkin, crumple it, or stuff it into your clothing. If you need to use it during the meal, just bring the corner of it up from your lap and gently blot your mouth with it and return it to your lap. If there is need to leave the table during the meal, place the napkin on your chair until you return. Do not put it back on the table. Do not rest your elbows or arms on the table. Also, try to avoid moving in your seat and try to keep good posture. Feet should be flat on the floor in front of you. While having soup, use your spoon to lift soup by dipping in the direction opposite to yourself rather than tilting it towards yourself, and move the bottom of the spoon against the inner rim of the bowl to remove any drips before bringing the spoon towards your mouth to sip. Do not pick the bowl up from the table or drink from it. Excuse yourself to the restroom. For removing food from your teeth, take medicine. For grooming yourself in any way during the meal, you should go to the restroom. These things should never be done at the table. What are the things to be kept in mind while eating? Try to eat at the same pace as the others at your table. Close your mouth while chewing and never speak while having food in your mouth. Allow your host to start eating or drinking before you start to eat. Bring your food towards your mouth rather than leaning in towards the food. Never blow on your food to cool it. Never double dip into shared appetizers or dishes. Do not scrape your plate with silverware. Always thank your host for the meal and for taking time to meet with you. So, students, let's now summarize what we have learned in this module on business etiquettes. Business etiquettes are all about building relationships with other people. Etiquette is not only about rules and regulations, but it is also about providing predictability in social behavior of the people so that people feel secure and comfortable. For success in the professional setup, it is very important to follow the norms of business etiquettes. In the module, we understood about the etiquettes to be followed during business meetings, face-to-face conversation, communicating on the phone, making introductions, writing emails, and business dining. Thank you.